Hi, this is Dave O'Mara, and this is 5 by 5 on Monday, March 7th, 2005. I can hardly mention the date of March 7th without realizing that it is my mother's birthday. My mother, who has been gone from us for 11 years now. For a lot of deep reasons, I'm not the sort of person who goes to a I suppose I could have dismissed that one strangely lucid, even insightful comment that had appeared in the midst of an unhinged monologue, the moment when she talked about being a mental patient as a profession that generated regular paychecks. I could have regarded that moment of lucidity as simply evidence of the intermittency of her disease, or possibly the fact that she was getting cured. A moral understanding here, a moral insight to an epistemological process. Okay, we'll keep going with this. We build our beliefs and hopes out of these small misunderstandings with reality and live off husks of bread that we call cakes. And poor children play. The other, it became the template through which I recalled and saw clearly an incident that had occurred to me earlier in my tenure as a security guard, a midnight security guard at Presidential Plaza, when I had dealt with what I'll call the 3 a.m. apartment hunter who came around looking for an apartment at 3 a.m. So I'm going to give it a try. Very, very sub-zero night. This passage is called The Principle of Inertia. A body under the action of no force can only move uniformly in a straight line. Is this a truth imposed on the mind a priori? If this be so, how is it that the Greeks ignored it? How could they have believed that motion ceased caused by some amazing chance, such as that which had led into error our imaginary astronomers, this being the amazing chance that all the orbits of their solar system were in the same plane, lacking eccentricity, perfectly circular. The guy clearly did exploit the unwillingness of any of us to be responsible for him freezing to death in the bitter sub-zero cold. But on the other hand, I mean, wasn't he obviously terribly mentally ill? I mean, if there was a certain rationality, a certain cohesiveness, a certain hierarchical structure to his behavior that night, and a major objective that in the bodies tend to move in circles, the noblest of all forms of motion. Okay, well, I'll continue now. If it be said that the velocity of a body cannot change, if there is no reason for it to change, may we not just as legitimately maintain that the position of a body cannot change, or that the curvature of its path cannot change, without the agency of an external cause, the memory of a perfume or a snatch of music, each strummed into being by some unknown influence from without. Okay, the word strum there obviously implying a musical metaphor to chant sounds. Okay, I don't know where those thoughts were leading to, and our current metaphor for people who are severely mentally ill is that they are ill. It's the metaphor of disease. She was simply applying a new metaphor to that, the metaphor of a job, and it's the kind of metaphor that, while it's not the standard way people talk, it seems like it's an insight. It's a better metaphor. The hypothesis of an error of this kind being discarded, we may admit that so far as astronomy is concerned, our law has been verified by experiment. So it would take, I see. I now actually understand. I just realized. I'll attempt to read one more sentence while I still have a little time here. Is then the principle of inertia, which is not an a priori truth, an experimental fact? Have there ever been experiments on bodies acted upon by no forces? And if so, how did we know that no forces were acting? The usual instance is that of a ball rolling for a very long time on a marble table. But why do we say it is under the action of no force? That's all for today.